All right, so in this video, I'm going to be going over exactly how Alex Hormozi made $100 million just from a $29 book using a low ticket funnel. I'm going to be covering his messaging, his positioning, and his psychology that he used throughout his low ticket funnel that you can put into your low ticket funnel. And the cool thing is, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to set yours up. This is an entire guide to where you will have a low ticket funnel just like Alex Hormozi's by the end of this video. And I know what you're thinking. How the heck am I going to show you how to build a low ticket funnel just like Alex Hormozi? Well, I've actually been running this myself before anybody was really talking about low ticket. I'm going to put you on some game. I've been running this for quite a while, a low ticket funnel, and you can check that out below if you want to buy it. It's only 27 bucks. But essentially, I've been using this for my ad spend, right? I was spending around $300 a day, and I created a low ticket funnel where I would cash collect $333, and then on the high ticket, upsell people into a $5,000 program or cash collect for $5,000 and then make a revenue of $10,000. So I've been doing this for nearly 7 months now, and that funnel has been working for a while. And this is kind of also gate kept by many big coaches and info sellers. All right, so getting into Alex Hormozi's funnel here and breaking this down, we got the first initial landing page. This was obviously to get signups for his workshop, as many people as he could there. So he wasn't necessarily selling anything just yet. He was collecting leads, getting information here, making people sign up for this live event so he can hit them up on the back end with a ton of messages, emails, other ads that were created to get you to actually buy the book. But really he's information collecting here, getting a ton of leads, and then he is having a upsell page to his $29 book. Before you even enter the workshop, he's making sure that you have buy-in. And I'll be explaining this in a second, but really ultimately, Alex Hormozi chose this model, A, because it fits his book, obviously. But in reality, we need to understand why Hormozi is doing this, and this will help you build out the rest of the funnel in your low ticket product and position it right and have the right messaging around it. Because right now, there's a broken model, okay? And Alex Hormozi understands this really, really well. And that model is you give out free content, you build out a reciprocity bank, and then you get a sale. So ton of free Instagram content, ton of free YouTube content, free lead magnets, assets, whatever, right? You're building up your bank so that you fulfill on the principle of reciprocity, where somebody feels like they owe you a favor in a sense, and they're going to then buy your high ticket program. This is what everyone is currently doing. And the big problem with this, and Alex Hormozi understands this super, super well, is that value does not equal value anymore. We are in a content recession, right? Value-driven posts do not convert like they used to. If you're a coach or info creator and you've been in this space for quite a long time, if you've created a ton of free lead magnets, assets, free YouTube videos, Instagram reels, you have noticed a difference. I have a lot of people coming to me at the moment who are experiencing a drop in their content and getting sales. And it's because we're really in a content recession. Anyone can copy and paste and flood the market with the same ideas. I'm sure somebody's going to literally copy my video using ChatGPT and create the same exact thing, right? You can easily just provide value. The result here is a saturated feed where giving value just blends in. Content alone just does not sell anymore. Overall, the value of value has been diluted. All right, so we're in that content recession like I talked about. And you have to understand supply versus demand. Okay, we have the supply of coaches and info sellers and business owners creating value-based content going way up, right? And then we have the attention, the trust, and the buyer intent going down. And right here, we have a recession zone. So a lot of coaches creating content, a lot of info sellers creating value-based content going up, and the trust, attention going down. And that is how a recession essentially is created. Understanding supply versus demand. And these one-offs, what I'll explain for in the low ticket, combats this. And I'll explain exactly how when we get into creating your own low ticket product based off of the psychology of what Hormozi used. But I also want to address this. Why did Hormozi not choose to go reoccurring on his low ticket product? And it's for the simple reason, right? If we have Mr. Prospect on the left, who can either buy a $27 a month product or a $27 a month product, the psychology behind the two is a little bit different. So if Mr. Prospect buys the $27 a month product, the intentions, the psychology behind it is, I bought this to continue to get more, right? It's reoccurring. So the sense is he is going to be receiving more month after month after month. That is why, it's hard to get somebody from a $27 to $127 a month school community to ascend into the higher ticket. You're doing everything in your power to keep that person to resubscribe every single month. So you just provide more and more and more and more value in the low ticket community. Whereas the one-offs is completely different. They're purchasing this one-off to fix a problem, right? And if they want more, they will purchase more. So this is why we're not doing a monthly thing. So when you're setting up yours, make sure it's a one-off product, just like Hormozi has done. The psychology behind that is so crucial. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So like I said, with Hormozi's funnel, we're collecting information, qualifying people through here. And obviously if they're qualified, they're going to be sent different email sequences and everything and different text messages in order to upsell them into his products that I'll be talking about later on. And he brings you to this upsell page for the $29.99 book, the low ticket info product. And we need to understand when creating your low ticket, the psychology behind this book. Why did it work? Why does having an audience of buyers, people who bought into this, how does that lead into an upsell? Why is he doing this? So, like I said before, Hormozi understands the reciprocity imbalance. Free value is no longer special. The market is so saturated with free value, the viewer feels used to it. There is no initial investment from the person who gets the free value, right? You're creating free content on YouTube, free assets, free workshops, you name it, free. You're building that reciprocity bank, but there's a huge imbalance because the person is no longer invested into you because of how much free value is saturated. There's no investment into you. So there's this huge imbalance, and a low ticket works because even if it's $1 to $30, that payment resets that balance. Buyers feel invested. They're not passive customers anymore. They've put some skin in the game, right? They pay a $27 product and they've invested into you, and the reciprocity scale begins to balance out. And what this is ultimately doing is creating a pool of buyers. So the difference between a pool of buyers that Hormozi understands and freebie takers is free assets get freebie seekers who collect free stuff but never act. Once again, they have that zero intent to buy because there's no investment into you. The trust mechanism begins to be maxed out when you get a pool of buyers. They're committed, they have that skin in the game, and the trust rises because they go through the program, they have that intent, or they go through the low ticket product that you have. And even if they didn't go through it, they already have that intent to do so. So there's skin in the game. The trust is being risen. They've bought into you. And then their journey begins to be compressed, which is amazing, right? So typically what the journey looks like for somebody to become a high ticket customer is they go from stranger to follower to buyer to high ticket customer. But with the low ticket, they're automatically becoming a buyer, and then they become a high ticket customer. So you're skipping this and you can beeline to this right away. So the pool of buyers and the intent is there. That's the whole reason why Hormozi was even selling this book for $29. It's just to get that skin in the game, right? And then there's value stacks, of course, added to this. So what he's doing here is not just selling the book, right? When it comes to crafting your low ticket offer, we need to understand how Hormozi has positioned this really, really well inside his entire funnel. And really, 100 million money models isn't just a low ticket book that they're trying to sell. It's a mission, right? The launch was presented as a live experiment. Watch me show you how this works in real time. And I'm on this mission that you are going to be a part of that helps me share entrepreneurship to the world. Put a book in every entrepreneur's hands, and you're going to be a part of that. So he's not just selling the information side. He has the mission around it. And then the great thing of why this also worked is because, yes, it is also synthesized information, right? The deliverable is 100 million money models. It's a book that's step-by-step framework showing you exactly how to structure a business and monetization models, positioned as the next piece after his previous bestseller, right? So he's giving you all of this information, almost like, I would probably say more like probably like 5 years of information just synthesized into one single book, making this extremely, extremely, extremely valuable for any entrepreneur. And the framing of this is like, it's not just a book. Like, yes, he's synthesizing that information, but it's giving you Hormozi's proven track records that can get you to 100 million. So we want to make sure we're selling the transformation essentially. And then finally, he wraps this up as a no-brainer, right? Framed it right, huge amount of information synthesized. He has the proof in there. He's also showing you the mission and how it's working. But then he makes it a no-brainer just by putting a $29 price tag on it. And this also, of course, leads into the things that we talked about. But then it's the stepping stone to that ascension, right? Even in the funnel itself in this video, he kept on saying, there's going to be surprises on the workshop. There's going to be other additional items for you to get that are super, super valuable. And even in a little order bump that I'll talk about in a second, he framed this right and he put it in the right sequence in order for you to be upsold. So he's implying that there's more value to be had. This isn't just the only thing. So he understands that we're taking strangers to buyers right away, and he's giving asymmetrical value, making it a no-brainer, synthesizing that information. But then he has the value stack positioning. What really makes a good low-ticket product here, and what Hormozi understood really, really well, is that this is just a stepping stone to where his ideal customer is trying to go. Right? Yes, you need this book, but there's many other things that you need in your pathway towards your transformation, your vacation. And this is the first stepping stone to that. So he positioned that extremely, extremely well. So now that we understand like why we're doing this, how he positions low ticket, the messaging, the frame, and the psychology around it, now it's time to build out yours. Okay, so step one, we need to solve a very painful problem in the journey, but not the entire journey. Remember, just like Hormozi, we just want it to be a stepping stone. But the key here is to make sure you're solving that, like a very painful problem for your ideal customer and along their journey, right? So if part of your ideal customer's journey is like, let's say we're doing a fitness thing, it's, getting nutrition down, getting the workout down, getting the tracking down, getting the calendar all situated, right? Well, what if you just created a product for tracking, okay? And you gave that away. And it's a lot of value packed into one little thing that helps somebody, along their pathway to seeing the whole entire transformation. It helps them get them there much faster. Essentially what you're doing is synthesizing information or synthesizing solutions along the pathway for somebody to get there to their transformation much faster. So really ask yourself the question, how fast can you help somebody solve a small but very painful problem along their journey? And this can be in the form of swipe files, case studies, AI agents, a tracker, a mini course on something, whatever is possible, like just value packing this as much as you humanly can. And then step 2, you're then framing your low ticket product not as a product. Remember, this is a transformation and you have a mission tied to it. So it's not a product. We frame it as a transformation. You're speaking to, let's say this is the tracker. We're speaking to getting that rocking body that you've always wanted. This is a thing that will help you get there faster, easier, and more efficient. Okay? So the framing of it is super important. All the messaging that you use throughout the entire funnel. And by the way, if you want to have the entire funnel and a bunch of examples of low ticket products that are working, just click the link below. We give you the entire funnel, the low ticket funnel, to set this up within a single day. Click that link. It's only $27, and you can also see how I'm using everything that Hormozi is doing in my low ticket funnel to make it super successful, which is really cool. Okay, and then finally, step 3, making it a no-brainer, right? So you synthesize all that information. You're getting the prospect there faster, more efficiently, better, quicker, whatever. And it's just solving a very painful problem along the way in their journey. Then you're just making a no-brainer. Make it $27. And we know that making it $27 begins to attract a pool of buyers. And now we know why a pool of buyers is much, much better, right? Make it super dummy. Make it dummy mode. I have to be dummy mode not to buy. Put that $27 price tag there. So that's your steps for building out your low ticket product and also designing it just like how Hormozi has designed his. Hormozi's funnel goes to the free sign up. And I do recommend you don't need a free sign up on yours, right? You just need a landing page that looks like this. I'll actually show you mine. You need a landing page that looks like this, and then you're collecting opt-ins. So we're shortening Hormozi's. His is a little different because he's bringing you to a workshop. I'm going to show you how to make yours more efficient, but essentially you just need a landing page that looks like this, and then you have email collection here. Please do not email me based on my email here. That's my personal one. But anyway, from here, the important thing is having an order bump. Why is Alex Hormozi doing an order bump? A couple of reasons. One, we know that more buy-in to a higher ticket item creates more intent from the person and the ability to be upsold. So we understand that. But the real reason for the order bump is because order bumps are designed to make you a liquidation king. Meaning if you use your low ticket product, which is $29, and create a quick upsell, anywhere between 57 to 557, whatever it is, if you understand value creation, you can make it more. This begins to cover your cost of ad spend, right? You're liquidating your ad spend. So for Hormozi, another reason why he's even doing this low ticket in the first place, besides getting buyer intent, is that he's liquidating his entire ad budget and his entire marketing budget. But for you, it would just be liquidating your entire ad budget, right? The traditional approach to this, what most people are doing with ads, is you have your ad, you bring them to a funnel. This can be like a VSL funnel, DM messenger ad funnel, application funnel, profile funnel, whatever funnel that you can think of. And then they hopefully book a call and then you sell them. But during that time, you're spending money in hopes that somebody is going to go through this and they're going to eventually be sold. So you can be spending anywhere from $1,000 to, depending on the price of your program, you can be spending anywhere to $1,000 to $10,000, depending on your price of the program, to get somebody, right? And that can be very scary, especially today with the ad costs that are rising. So many people are spending money on ads, and Hormozi understands this, that we want to liquidate that spend, meaning we want to cover our cost of that spend. So virtually, we're really not spending money on ads at all. And this traditional approach, you get the sale and then you take a percentage of that sale and put it back into the ads to go back through this cycle, all in hopes that somebody's going to book with all this ad expenditure that you're just watching leave your account and that you're going to get another sale. The great thing about this funnel is we're liquidating. So we have the ad. The money is being spent here just for the ad. But then somebody purchases the low ticket, $27, and the order bump as well. So like, let's say a $57 order bump. So they purchase this and your ad costs are covered. You're collecting the lead just like Hormozi here. You collect the lead, and I'll show you how this plays into a much more efficient system that you can put in for yourself. But you collect that lead, you're covering your ad cost, and then you can have a lot of systems for somebody to book, upsell page. I'll show you that in a second, but then they can book and then you get the sale. So your ROI is going to be greater. You're virtually not spending money on ads, and the order bump is essential for that. All right. If you understand funnel economics, I call it a self-funding funnel. Once again, you can get that in the link below. If you understand funnel economics, I'm going to call it funnelonomics, you will get that, without an upsell, ads begin to eat into that margin. So if you're just selling a $27 product, sure, you might liquidate some of your ad spend, but if you get the order bump in there, even if it's just $57, now you're turning a $27 purchase into an $84 purchase that covers more ad spend, and likely you'll be able to turn a profit with that if you know what you're doing. It takes a little bit to get it going, but really you're not spending any money on ads. The whole point of this is to be self-funding. You're self-funding the opt-ins, the person coming in, the buying intent, the filling out your pipeline. You're self-funding that. So order bumps are absolutely crucial if you understand funnel economics. And the important thing is order bump positioning is super, super crucial. So the order bump needs to be something that's either extremely exclusive or makes the item the customer is about to purchase work better, faster, and easier. So for Hormozi here, he backed it off of extreme exclusivity, right? If you upgrade now, I'll give you 2 tools my team begged me not to release. So extreme exclusivity, and of course that probably helps you understand 100 million money models or helps you implement what's inside of it much faster. But he backed it off of extreme exclusivity. And, to give you the full thing here, really it was another handbook that he was giving you, his top 20 ad frameworks, as well as I believe his closer handbook, which is extremely exclusive. And he really emphasized that in this video here. Hey man, if you get this order bump here, you're getting something that my team begged me not to release, and I may never release it ever again, right? So extreme exclusivity, or the way you can position your order bump, how I position mine. So it helps you make it either better, faster, and easier. So it really if this, then that statement, right? If you get this, the $97 order bump, then it makes the $27 product that you're just about to purchase better, faster, easier. And I'll show you mine in a second. Mine here, what we have here is an email sequence. We give you an email sequence to make your upsells a lot easier for this. So we just give you all those frameworks, all the ones that we use, and it allows you to write it out much quicker, right? And we sell that for $57. Okay, so now we understand the psychology of the order bump. We have Alex Hormozi going from free opt-in that we don't necessarily need, but collecting information that we'll be using later for a lot of email sequences and messaging, and then an upsell page, having that order bump to understand, to get the funnel really self-funding so we're not spending money on ads. Then we begin to get into the more complicated side of Hormozi's funnel. So obviously here we're not trying to do $100 million in a single day like Hormozi has done. There's a way to make this a little bit more efficient for you. There's just the average coach who's trying to scale to $100,000 a month. We're not relying off of a huge workshop and all these affiliate things going on, but I'm going to break this down first, and then I'm going to be showing you how you can turn the back half of Alex Hormozi's funnel into an ascension process for you where you can collect $5,000 plus from your $27 product on the back end. I'm going to go through and it'll make sense when I explain my thing of how to package this up in a little bit different way that's going to be more efficient for you, where you're not doing a huge launch, because this, to be honest with you, Hormozi probably spent a year setting this up. I have no idea actually how long it took him to set us up, but I'm assuming a very, very long time. You can do this much quicker with a little bit of different system, but we're pulling out the same psychological principles of why this worked and putting it into a little bit of a different system. So let me get into it. After the order bump, you're brought to another page where you can become an affiliate. Hormozi, during this page, has another way to market his book. You become that affiliate. You share this with 10, 15 people. There's a bunch of exclusive things that you get. You get to go to his office, another like workshop that he has, a lot of different things he gives you depending on how many books or how many other signups you got. But from there, on the day of his launch, it was a workshop. This entire workshop can be broken down into a whole nother video. It's a masterpiece, obviously. He sold a cajillion dollars of his books and he had everything work right? It's a masterpiece, really. He sold 100 million. So this can be a whole nother video itself, but he brings you through a workshop. Through this workshop, he has a whole entire presentation giving you, just building up value the entire time, essentially giving you a $70,000 stack of just more value that he's giving you through different books, other systems and everything, even an AI bot, whatever, right? He stacks that value all the way to $70,000 and then he sells it for $6,000, right? So he's built that up, all this information, all this exclusivity, has real scarcity to it as well. Like this offer is going to end on Monday when the live stream officially ends. So ton of scarcity, ton of value being built up, sells it for $6,000, ends up doing like 80 million on the first day, just selling this. He had the whole mission tied to it and everything really, really well. Okay. And then he gets into, after you buy this, a $18,000 upsell for his coaching program. Crazy, right? So not only you just spend $6,000 to get everything, now you can join his $3,000 a month program. That's 6 months, so $18,000. And you get access to other workshops, get access to other bunch of things, which is really cool. And at the time of recording this, he had 673 members join this. Absolutely insane. So a lot of people are talking about how much money he made just off of the book. Like he set records here, but nobody's really talking about how he collected another $2 million a month in cash and then $12 million in revenue. Absolutely insane. So how can we take all this? Like we're not trying to go this big. This takes a ton of reciprocity and everything that he's built up throughout the years and a huge list and all this crazy things that go into it. How can we take this, make it a little bit more efficient and get you to have something similar to this or using the same principles and the framing and the psychology of it to where you can have this running by the end of the week and starting to get some high ticket sales. Okay, so the back end funnel economics here, the ascension process that is bringing people through, we really just need to understand like the anatomy of the workshop. Like what is the purpose of this workshop? Why did the workshop sell so many people? How can we put those same principles into what we will be doing? Really, the workshop is here for a couple different reasons. Number one, trust building. Okay. Time spent with the person equals trust accelerator. Back to the 7-11-4 rule, right? You need somebody to watch 7 hours of your content through 11 different touch points, through 4 different formats in order to become a buyer. Alex Hormozi understood that really well. That's why we have workshops in the first place. More trust is being built. He, pitched his product for 20 minutes. It's a sales thing. And then the whole entire live was like 8 hours. And then he has, the days following, he had a bunch of other live calls happening after that. And really, he's just breaking down the skepticism. You're there with him. He's building up a ton of value. The trust is being built. And as we know, trust is a core mechanism for somebody to purchase a high ticket item. A lot of trust needs to be built. Other than that, he had storytelling going on, or story selling, excuse me. He used the event as his case study and he had a whole story around it. He was even talking about his previous books and the results that he created from that, and just compounding proof was created throughout this workshop. And he had a whole entire story around this. People buy stories. So we understand that, and he weaved that into his workshop. The other part is the reciprocity bank, right? Now that he had a lot of intent from buyers who bought the book, right? Unlike this model here where we get a reciprocity imbalance where we just give away free things, he had a lot of people who had intent on the call or on the workshop, excuse me. So now he can start to build up that bank because there's skin in the game. The person showed they had skin in the game by purchasing. Now I can build up that bank by giving away more value and insights. So that's exactly what he did on the call or on the workshop here. And then finally we get into the value stack, right? This was a sales pitch at the end of the day. He stacked it all the way up to 70K with all the things that he was offering. You're going to get this, you're going to get this, it's worth this, it's worth this, it's worth that, da, 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 da. And then it's not worth anything. It's completely free if you buy 200 books for $6,000. Like, you just stacked the value all the way up to $7,000, price anchored it with it, and then framed it as completely free. And you're just really buying 200 books. That's leading towards my mission, which is getting a book in every single entrepreneur's hands, right? So the value stack was absolutely insane. So understanding the anatomy of this, right? The real thing that's happening, all this stuff here, is just a massive value add. The workshop convinced people to buy a $6,000 product because it combined long-form trust, 8 hours together, proof and authority stacking, value stacking and price anchoring, scarcity and urgency and social proof and community hype and reciprocity bank. All these things were needed that are mechanisms to purchase a $6,000 product. Okay. Understanding that, how can we turn this huge process that he had that's complicated? It is a complicated process. How can we simplify this and make it a more efficient for you? Well, so how do we turn Hormozi's workshop into a more efficient system that brings in customers and upsells people daily? So what we're doing is moving this entire process into what I like to call an ecosystem. And this is what I use for myself. This is what we're using for other coaches when it comes to low ticket products. And it works extremely well because we're taking the core principles of everything, the anatomy of all this stuff, the mechanisms that sell people into a high ticket program, and we're putting this into an ecosystem. So people get access to your school community, which has the low ticket product in it. And there's other modules in there that are free, right? This builds up the trust, the authority, the reciprocity bank. And you have YouTube videos in there. They're more integrated into your ecosystem. So really what's happening is when they purchase the $27 product, they go into the program, but that program is hosted in school, and then that reciprocity bank is there, and they're just shoved into that ecosystem more and more. They're going to see the YouTube, the emails, the additional assets, and we also have that important reciprocity balance there. They have that intent. They're invested into you. They're more likely going to go through all this stuff. And ecosystems are super efficient because what happens here when somebody ends up buying your low ticket product, you have people who are going to upsell right away. So everybody here purchased the $27 product. You have a right around maybe 20% that could upsell if you do everything right. And then the other 80% still needs all of what, Hormozi has done through his workshop and all that stuff that he's built up. They still need this to happen. And when you shove them into your school community that has YouTube videos, and then you can blast emails as well since you have their email, and there's other assets in there, even the low ticket product itself, when you have that, they become more integrated. And you're constantly showing up in front of their face every single day. And the more and more all of this stuff is built up. Okay? So the ecosystem is important. And this is how you want to set it up. This is what we do for myself. Once again, check out my thing. You can watch it happen live. If you just purchase my thing, it's $27. And plus, if you purchase it, it's going to allow you to set it up within 0 to 7 days. Trust me, creating the funnel itself takes a long time and all the things that go into it. We just give it to you right away. But anyway, the back end upsell becomes super, super important for us to ascend people. And the way that we're currently doing it, right? First, we need to understand is that most people don't stop when they buy information. They want to be guided with implementation to make sure that they're taking the proper steps towards success, right? They want to get there faster, more efficient, a lot better. So if you position the low ticket product right, like everything that we talked about before, this will help them out with one step along the pathway. And your high ticket program should help them get there faster, easier, better than they could by themselves. So it helps them in a way implement the thing that they got much faster, but it also helps them implement all those other pieces that I was talking about. So not only do they get this, with the high ticket program, they get this, all this stuff that gets them there, their dream scenario much quicker. Okay. So the way we do this is as soon as they purchase, they go to a upsell page. And now that we understand how the ecosystem works, putting them into the school, building up everything, all those core principles that Hormozi used, we also want to have a sales system in place. This is going to help us ascend people much more efficiently as well. So implement a sales system in order to capitalize on your ad spend and ascend the customer who are looking for more up the funnel, right? They want more help. So how this looks, the sales system, they come in, they have the low ticket product. It's inside the school community. They're now integrated in our ecosystem. From there, they're getting emails, YouTube videos, more Instagram reels. They might do an inbound reach out, come to you on Instagram, or they might just book a call off of, things inside your school community or even your YouTube videos, right? And then that eventually leads to a sales call. But what we can do here is when they're purchasing this, they are updated in our CRM. And the appointment setter can call them based off of the information that we collected in our low ticket funnel. Just like how Hormozi is collecting information here, we want to be collecting the email, the phone number when they purchase the low ticket. So you can call them. Okay, if they answer, you book an appointment with them. And then they have an implementation call and you get the sale. If there's no answer, the appointment setter does an Instagram reach out, sends additional assets, goes through a classic setting script, and then back to booking this appointment. And then as well as on the school side, you can set on school itself, but typically Instagram reach outs work a little bit better. And that's it, guys. This is the entire low ticket funnel that you need, taking how Hormozi structured and positioned and used the framing of his funnel, bringing that over into your product. You can literally get this set up, following this entire video, understand the model that we're going through, why it works, not going with the traditional method, leading with intent first by getting a person to purchase a low ticket, liquidating that ad spend, positioning the product right, putting an order bump in there, taking how Hormozi used this back end funnel here to bring it over into a ecosystem that allows you to send people much easier with a great system, back end process, and sales system in place. Alrighty. With that, guys, if you want the funnel itself, if you want to just skip the entire process, building out the funnel, getting the VSL locked in, getting the ads locked in, just check out my funnel. It's only $27. We get you to get this self-funding funnel up in 0 to 7 days. Everything's given to you. Click the link below. And other than that, I'll see you in the next video.